If anyone wants to know where the energy is, if anyone out there that's following American politics wants to know where the energy is, just come right here in this room and you'll see it. I want to thank your governor, Governor Bob McDonnell, the most popular governor in America. And the First Lady, Maureen McDonnell, as well. And thank you to the next United States Senator from the Commonwealth of Virginia, George Allen. Thanks also to Congressman Frank Wolf for introducing us here and welcoming us here. And thank you for that welcome. I'm overwhelmed. That's really something special. Thank you. And I'm looking around. I'm looking around to see if we have the Beatles here or something to have brought you, but it looks like you came just for the campaign, and I appreciate it. Your voices and your energy and your passion are being heard all over the nation. And Ann and I hear them in our hearts as well, and I want to thank you for being here and for showing us that kind of welcome, and thank you for the work that so many of you have been doing. Going across the neighborhood, knocking on doors, making phone calls for us at victory centers, putting up signs in your yard and in your neighbors' yards. Thanks for convincing co-workers to join our team and to recognize how important this election is for the entire nation. And now let's make sure that we get everybody out to vote on Tuesday. Everybody you know, bring to the polls. You know, what's really inspiring about this gathering today is that you came here because you care about America. And this is a campaign about America and about the future that we're going to leave to our children and to their children. We thank you, and we ask you to stay with it all the way until we win tomorrow night. We've got to have your help. Now, perhaps there are a few members of your family or your friends that haven't decided who they're going to vote for yet. And so when you talk to them, and I'm going to talk to them here as well, ask them to look beyond the speeches and the attacks and the ads and look at the record. Look at the record, because talk is cheap, but a record is real and it's earned with effort. You know, when the president promised change, you can actually look and see what happened, because change can't be measured in speeches. It's measured in achievements. And 4 years ago, then candidate Obama promised to do so very much, but he's done so very little. I mean, he promised to be, as you recall, a post-partisan president, but he was most partisan, and he has attacked and blamed and divided. And it's not only Republicans he's refused to listen to, it's also independent voices. He said he was going to focus on job creation. Instead, he focused on Obamacare that killed jobs. He said he was going to cut the federal deficit. He's going to cut the deficit in half. Instead, he doubled it. He said that by now unemployment would be at 5.2%, and you saw on Friday at 7.9%. They may sound like small percentage differences, but you know that's 9 million American jobs short of what he promised. Those are real people. Unemployment is today higher than when Barack Obama took office. And you know, he promised that he would propose a plan to save Medicare and Social Security from insolvency, but he didn't. And in fact, he raided Medicare $716 billion to pay for his vaunted Obamacare plan. He said that he would lower health insurance premiums for the average American family by now by $2,500 a family. Any of you seen your health insurance go down by that amount? I keep looking. Actually, what we've seen is that premiums are up for the average family by $3,000 a year. And you think about that, with a median income of $50,000 a year, he's off by $5,500. This is tough for America's families. And by the way, gasoline, that now costs $2,000 a family more than it did when he was elected. There's a record to look at. He said he'd work across the aisle on the most important issues. Did you know that he has not met on the economy or on jobs or on the budget with either the Republican leader of the House or of the Senate since July? Think of that. This is November. Since July. Instead of bridging the divide, he's made the divide wider. And so when so many of you look at the big debates in this country, not as a Republican or a Democrat, but as an independent thinker, as an American. And you watch what's happened in this country over the last 4 years with an independent voice. You hope that President Obama would live up to his promise to bring people together, to solve big problems. He hasn't. I will. Let me tell you why he fell so far short of what he promised. It's because he cared more about the liberal agenda he was pursuing than he did about repairing the economy. I mean, did Obamacare create new jobs? Did his war on coal and gas and oil create new jobs? Did those Dodd-Frank regulations make it easier for banks to make loans to people? Does raising taxes put people to work? How about his avalanche of new regulations? Does that help small businesses? How about his plan to require companies to have unions whether the employees want to vote for them or not? Card check, does that create jobs? You passed the test. Almost every measure he took, almost everything he did hurt the economy. And that means it hurt our fellow Americans. 23 million of our fellow Americans are struggling to find a good job. 1 in 6 of our fellow Americans are in poverty. And the middle class, those that aren't poor, those that have a job, they're still struggling. They've been squeezed over the last 4 years by incomes that have been coming down. Now $4,300 a year less in income per year than when he took office. And at the same time, prices are up for health insurance, as I mentioned, and for gasoline, and for food, and for electricity. These have been tough times to be middle class in America under this president. This weekend, I spoke with a man, I spoke with a wife of a man. He's 60 years old, in the prime earning years of his life. 60 years old is just fine, by the way. I remember being young like that. This guy had worked for 40 years as a welder, but he just got laid off. And she asked me on the phone, she said, what can I do to help her husband? And she made it very clear, she wasn't talking about getting a government check. He wants a job. The president thinks that more government is the answer. It is not. More good jobs, that's the answer for America. I actually think the question of this election comes down to this. Do you want 4 more years like the last 4 years? Or do you want real change? Now look, the president promised change, but he just couldn't deliver it. I not only promised change, I have a record of achieving it. I actually built a business and turned around another one. I helped turn around the Olympics back when they were in trouble. And by the way, with the Democrat legislature, I helped turn my state from deficit to surplus, and from job losses to job growth, and from higher taxes to higher take-home pay. That's why I'm running for president. I know how to change the course the nation is on. know, I've balanced budgets. You have to do that in business or you go bankrupt. And I balance budgets in my state and at the Olympics. I'm going to use that skill to help balance our federal budget and to help build jobs and get rising take-home pay, because accomplishing real change is not just something I talk about. It's something I have done and I will do as the next president of the United States. If you believe we could do better, and if you believe America should be on a better course, and if you're tired of being tired, then I ask you to vote and work for real change. Paul, Ryan, and I will bring real change from day one, because when I'm elected, I understand the American economy and the job situation is still going to be struggling, stagnant. I won't waste any time complaining about my predecessor. I won't spend my effort trying to pass partisan legislation that's unrelated to job growth. From day one, I'm going to go to work to help Americans get to work. And people across the country are responding to our 5-part plan to create jobs. You've heard about it. Part 1 is taking full advantage of our energy resources. On day one, I'm going to act to increase the number of leases and permits on federal lands, and so we can
For months, we have seen the ads and the attacks and the counterattacks. $2 billion in spending for both these campaigns. Folks, it is coming down to tomorrow. Let me let you know, we did find out from the Romney camp that Mitt Romney will be voting tomorrow morning, of course, in Massachusetts, his home state. But then they have added two stops. He'll be in Cleveland and he will be in Pittsburgh, two swing states in which we will see Mitt Romney. Of course, we'll be following both Mitt Romney and the president. Big day here for us to see it in tomorrow. But for now, let's go to Wolf Blitzer in the Situation Room. Wolf.